An emotional King Charles was joined by a host of high-profile royals tonight as statues of his late parents Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were unveiled at a special festival of remembrance at the Royal Albert Hall. The life-sized bronze artworks, commemorating the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh's dedication to the Royal Albert Hall, were erected as part of the building's 150th anniversary. Charles, 74, was joined by Queen Camilla and the Prince and Princess of Wales at the Royal British Legion's Festival of Remembrance, with Kate wearing one of the late Queen's pearl necklaces. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, the Princess Royal and Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester and the Duke of Kent were also in attendance. As they took their seats, Charles was seen waving to the packed hall. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak observed the event from a box to the left of the royals alongside his wife Akshata Murthy, while Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer sat in a separate box to the right with his wife Lady Victoria. The event saw the King unveil the statue of his late mother, while Camilla pulled back the curtain on the bust of Prince Philip. Upon arriving, Charles and Camilla shook hands with two men before they revealed the statues for the first time. After a countdown of 3, Camilla pulled on a golden rope and red velvet curtains revealed the bronze statue of Prince Philip. Then Charles did the same and unveiled the statue of his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, who died in September 2022. Artworks of Queen Victoria and her husband, Prince Albert, were also unveiled at the Royal Albert Hall this week. The statues, created by artist Poppy Field, complete the building by filling the niches of its north porch, which have been empty since 1871, and its south porch, added in 2003. Charles and Camilla were seen clapping at various points during the event, including at the arrival of the Chelsea pensioners. Hosting the annual Royal British Legion event, Claire Balding said that servicemen and women who have lost their lives are kept alive with our words, our memories, our tributes. There were performances from British soul singer Micah Paris, pop star Callum Scott, Chelsea pensioner Colin Thackeray and tenor Alfie Boe, who performed Bring Him Home. The Princess Royal led a tribute to those who lost their lives in the Battle of the Atlantic, the longest military campaign of the Second World War. This year's Festival of Remembrance marked 80 years since the battle, which saw around 65,000 seamen lose their lives. Other tributes at the festival included to the bereaved who have lost loved ones through military service. Footage marking the 70th anniversary of the Korean War was shown, with contributions from people who had served. There were also tributes to the Windrush generation and their contribution to the British Armed Forces, marking the 75th anniversary of the HMT Empire Windrush's arrival in the UK. It included a performance of Something Inside by Micah Paris, who dedicated it to her Caribbean grandparents who came to Britain on the Windrush. British DJ duo Sigma performed and were accompanied by the inclusive dance group, Stopgap Dance Company, to mark the contribution of the Invictus Games. The royals joined the crowd to sing Dear Lord and Father of Mankind after the Remembrance Book, containing the names of British war dead, was brought into the centre of the hall. It was carried by Petty Officer Stuart Jones and his family, accompanied by recently reunited Royal Navy families. The event ended with the crowd singing God Save the King, followed by 3 cheers, after which Charles waved to the crowd who applauded as he left with the other royals. The commissioning of the sculptures was awarded following a competition involving a shortlist of 7 sculptors supported by the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Trust, QEST, a charity supporting excellence in British craftsmanship. Ian McCulloch, president of the Royal Albert Hall, said, "It is particularly fitting for our distinctive building to mark the contribution to our history of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, who supported and attended the hall devotedly for so many decades." The event commemorates the service and sacrifice of servicemen and women and mark 80 years since the Battle of the Atlantic and the 70th anniversary of the Korean War. In tribute to the 75th anniversary of the HMT Empire Windrush's arrival, this year's festival will also honor the contribution of the Windrush generation to the military. The red poppy, the symbol of the Royal British Legion, is a symbol of both remembrance and hope for a peaceful future. Poppies are worn as a show of support for the armed forces community. The Princess of Wales wore a black pleated long-sleeved dress, along with a pearl necklace, and also had a poppy attached to her frock. Whereas the William, Prince of Wales, looked dapper in a navy suit which he paired with a striped tie and displayed his medals on his chest. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, greeted people at the festival today, which was held at the Royal Albert Hall. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his wife Akshata and Labour Party leader Keir Starmer and his wife Victoria were also at the event. On Sunday, Charles will lead the nation in remembrance at the cenotaph following a day of violent clashes across central London between counter-protesters and police, who attempted to stop them from interfering with a major pro-Palestine march. The Met Police said dozens of people had been arrested on Saturday, including 82 in an incident on Tatchbrook Street, Pimlico, when a large group of counter-protesters tried to reach the march. Counter-protesters had earlier clashed with police near the cenotaph, ahead of a service to mark Armistice Day. Scuffles broke out as police attempted to stop a crowd of people carrying St. George flags marching along Embankment towards Whitehall, where the cenotaph is located, shortly after 10 a.m. The group, which had been chanting England Till I Die, pushed through the police barrier, with some shouting "Let's have them" as officers hit out with batons. Further clashes with police took place in Chinatown with counter-protesters chanting, "You're not English anymore" towards officers.